Welcome to the Proper Property Podcast with Johnny and Luke.
Hello and welcome to the Proper Property Podcast. Today's a little bit different. I'm here with my good friend Danny Mcgregor, and Luke is at home being a lazy twat. So we're going to talk with Danny about his story. He's going to tell you how he lost everything, but now he's back. So good morning, Danny.
Good morning, Luke.
You absolute. So we're off to a fantastic start. So for them of you who don't know Danny, Danny is a bit of a joker. Absolutely loves it. But he definitely brightens up every room he walks into as long as he
wearing black.
as long as he can fit in that room. You absolute nesbit. Right. I knew this was going to be fun.
You know, I try.
So for them people who don't know you, Danny, and I know there's very few who don't know you by now, you've been about a bit, haven't you?
Well, you know, let's keep my private life out of this, but on a professional level, I try. You know, I have tries. It's been hard work, but yeah, I like to think, you know, I'm getting out there a little bit now.
Yeah, man. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Make sure you look at that camera when you're telling people.
Okie dokie. So as Johnny says, my name's Danny. I started out as a builder, bricklayer, then got into property investing. And along the way, as Johnny rightly says, I lost absolutely everything. A good few million within a bit of time. I had some time off, and along the last year or so, I've managed to get back in the game and start trying to build it all back up.
Yeah. So what is it that you're specialising in at the minute? Because I know over the last 6 months or so, everything's kind of changed, hasn't it? You've niched down a little bit, I think.
Yeah. So basically, I went bankrupt. That's what happened. To cut it short, I ended up having to go bankrupt. And after the bankruptcy, I started back in property refurbishment. So I was doing a bit of work for some well-known property investors and that kind of stuff, mainly their refurbishment. And that's kind of now the niche that I kept to. We don't do any work for members of the public. It's all investor kind of focused. So you're an investor. If you buy a property and it needs refurbing, you'd come to us and we do the full refurbishment. We also have a maintenance arm as well. So we look after a few estate agent companies, big block management companies, and so we do that. And we do a few other bits and bobs on the side as well.
Yeah, man. Awesome.
So
right, let's get absolutely into it now. Let's proper dig deep. Where did it all go wrong?
Okay, so it kind of all went wrong, basically, with a bridge company. We did everything we should have done. I'd used a few bridges in the past. Everything was fine. We also had private investor funds and everything like that. But this one particular bridge, at the very start of it, when we was going through the setup of the contract, we did the usual. You know, they'd done video conference calls and all this paperwork, sign this, sign that. They did it. And during COVID, and we're not blaming COVID at all, I decided to sell everything, so I put all my properties on the market. There was only 4 at the time, but there was around about 1.1 million on the portfolio. And part of the contract, part of the deal that we had and the paperwork and the videos that they had was if we needed to extend, we could extend it. And because of COVID, all solicitors and everything were out at work and doing what they were doing, skiing. Yeah. And so when it come to needing to extend, bear in mind all the properties had sold, it was all in conveyancing. When we come to extend, because we needed to extend, just because of the lag in time with the solicitors, the bridge company just turned around and said, no, we can't extend. And I was like, yeah, we can. He told us we could. No, you can't extend. And then they tried to charge me default charges. So they wanted to charge me 10 grand. And I told them no, because I knew that we had already agreed. They told me that we could extend. And basically, the broker got involved. He said it's not right. He rang them. The bridge company came back to him and says, right, you bring us more business and we'll honour it. And so at that point, I knew, as did the broker, that things were going to go sour. And yeah, sure, along the way, they did absolutely everything to move the goalposts, to push me into default.
So they were saying to the broker, if you give us more revenue through your business to us, we'll help this guy out.
Yeah.
That's disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
That is absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, the broker couldn't believe it. And that was... So on the day, I can remember it was playing his site. I'd got another business, a buying and selling business, fantastic business. And I was swinging plates around in that. And I get a call from kind of like my page. She's like, Danny, you really need to ring Hope Capital. So I gave him a call. And I says, look, what's the issue? I says, we need to extend, and they just denied it. And then from that day, I rung the broker straight up, and it was fantastic. I've dealt with him many, many times. He rang them up, spoke to them, he called me up, he said, you're not going to believe this. I says, what? He says, they've only said if I bring them more business, they'll honour it. So straight away, I mean, he put a written statement in, because then to cut, as I say, they did everything to move the goalposts. And so basically then the ASTL, Association Small Term Lenders, the founder and one of the directors got involved, brought the director of that bridge company in the office, gave him a real big slap on the arse, and told them they'd got to put me right, which they didn't want to do. And so they got kicked out or left the association of, ASTL, Association of Small Term Lenders. So, and then Begbie's Training got involved, because they found out the insolvency company that they was using was kind of years and years ago within the same company and all this kind of stuff.
All right. So one were paying other.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they were backhanders to each other.
Yeah, they were backhanding it. Yeah, it was. So Begbie's Trainer is the country's biggest insolvency company there is. I mean, in the UK, it's massive. And the look was that my accountant at the time was good friends with the director. And so he had a look at it, and he says, oh, no, this ain't right. So between them both, they
wanted people to go into insolvency, because then their other arm got paid.
Yes, and so when the insolvency came in, 2 or 3 days later, one of the buyers, solicitors, called up and says, right, we're ready to complete, we'll complete now. The insolvency company said no. And at that point, they could have sorted everything out, everything hunky-dory, everybody's paid off, but they denied it. They says no. And we later found out that the insolvency company tried to charge me £125,000 for it.
Oh, my God.
Whereas if they'd have just said, yes, okay, they'd have probably made fuck all.
Yeah. But everything would have been sweet. And now you're back, right?
Yes. Well, yeah, you know what? It's been hard work. I'm back trying, and I'm back in the game. Yeah. I'm not like a multi-millionaire again. You know
No. I don't know. But what I'm saying is that you're back at it. You're trying.
Yeah,
I mean, me and you met a year and a half ago, didn't we?
Yes.
At a PPN
I was thinking
event.
this today. Actually, I'm thinking, fucking hell, I just how
like a year and a half ago. I think I was speaking at an event. I think you spoke at it on behalf of Men in Property, on behalf of Andy's Man Club.
Was that the first time we met?
I think that's first time we met in person.
Right. Okay.
I think we'd seen each other on socials.
Right. So so
and we've got a mutual friend,
yes.
Joe Taylor, as well, haven't we?
Yeah, man, I don't know about that anymore. He doesn't come out now.
He's too big for us now, isn't he?
You know what I mean? So that was the first. So basically, I had a couple of years off, and some good friends of mine said, "Look, get back into the property game. Come on, let's go." So they brought me to PPN again, and I had a week or two of there, and then Ben, who runs that, says, "Look, if you want to do a bit of a talk about what went off, then fair enough, go for it." So that's when I did a bit of talk, and obviously then I mentioned about the Andy's Man Club. I brought them as well, and even then, I mean, at that point, everything was so raw. To talk in front of people about it then was, it was horrible. But I'm glad I did it, because it pushed me. The amount of people that got in touch with me since that was really, really good.
I think as well, what I always find is sometimes, even when things have gone horribly wrong, I've failed at things before. Things have been out of my control, and it's just things have failed what I've done. But you find that, I think, you run it in your head a lot worse than it really is, and then when you speak it out to people, it attracts the right people. And I think that it showed when you spoke, the amount of support you got from people after that. because it was out of your control. You'd genuinely done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
You'd followed all the guidelines. You literally, you just got screwed over.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, so like you say, the first part, yeah, in my head, I felt like such a massive failure. I mean, such a massive failure. And not only that, I'd on the cusp of everything because, as I say, everything was selling. I'd got the business, and the plan was we sell everything because I'd bought some land. We'd done a JV to buy some land to build a lot of houses. So I knew. I mean, I was about 35, 36, something like that when it happened. And I knew that when all of this is sold, I'd got a shite load of money coming in. And I honestly thought I'd made it. I mean, it was the very last hurdle in the property game, and especially as being a bricklayer. You know, you aspire to, you know, keep getting better onto bigger and better things. So for that to happen, to come crumbling down, it was awful. But then, like you say, you know, when you got to go and speak about it or tell people, I thought that they'd be thinking, he must have done something wrong, or he was an idiot, or he didn't do this, he didn't do that. And so there's that to kind of contend with. And then there's also the emotional side of trying to talk about it, you know, because although like you said, I find it easy to talk to people now, you know, and getting back out there like, you know, kind of have done, but to stand up in front of a load of people that you've never met before and talk about it, every time it just kept coming up and choking me and everything like that. But the beauty of it all, like you say, is the fact that so many people reached out, obviously to give me, you know, like a pat on the back and all that kind of stuff, but other people that have gone through it, are going through it, you know, or they know people going through it, because when I was going through it, I was on my own. Friends didn't understand it. Family didn't understand it. You know, other kind of business acquaintances didn't kind of understand it. You're literally on your own.
Yeah.
And it was horrible. Absolutely horrible. You're in like within four walls within your own head. So to be able to have other people reach out, and just for me, it just felt good to help in whatever little way I could have done.
Yeah. I'm going to do a little bit of a plug for Men in Property now.
Yeah, man.
And that is the reason, stories like that, when I was going around talking to people, it was stories like that I heard from people, and thinking that they couldn't talk to their friends because they didn't understand, because it weren't their world. Yeah. And that is exactly why I set Men in Property up. Yeah. So that there was somewhere where there's a group of people that understand what you're going through. Because 9 times out of 10, you get enough people in a room, one of them's been through what you've been through.
Yeah. Like exactly that. It's a very, very lonely place. I mean, like you say, the Men in Property. You know, there's many out there. Just to be able to open up and talk. The good thing was that for years, I've not struggled with my mental health. Don't get me wrong, but I've 10 years, the last 10 to 15 years or so, I've not been. You know, I get a sense there was always something. And you know, each time you get a little bit stronger, and that I'm glad I've been through the stuff I've been previously to that, because it made me stronger, ready for it. And you know, being able to talk about it and one thing and another. I mean, I went to Andy's Man Club, and without Andy's Man Club, I don't know where I'd be now. I don't think I'd be sat here.
100%. I've been to Andy's Man Club a lot of times, and I get it.
Yeah,
I get it. On different levels as well, because I think one of the things, I mean, not to sound, I don't know what the word is, but to see that you go into groups like this and the problems that other people have got can be far worse than the problems that you've got. But in your mind, it's a lot bigger. Mm. But then you're speaking to people. I mean, you pass the ball round, don't you? And you do your talks, and you say what you're up to. There's always something different in what they're asking you to talk. And like there'd be people saying, "Oh, like I've got cancer, or I've lost a family member," and then I remember thinking, like, I mean, I did lose my best friend, which is the initial reason I went there. But I carried on going there because I were having problems in the business. But then I think it's only a business. My family's healthy. And I think it just helps really as well put things into perspective.
So, exactly like you say, you know, these guys go there for all kinds of reasons. And I didn't know about it until what happened with me, and I've seen it on a flyer. I was actually trying to get into counselling again. I was trying to get some counselling, and for the first time, normally if I needed counselling, I'd get straight in about a week. Whereas this particular time, I had to wait weeks, and it was getting real severe. So, seeing this flyer, or somebody mentioned it, so I went and checked it out. And that was the hardest part. The hardest part was going for the first time, because you do not know what to expect. You, like you say, you run everything in your mind. It's going to be like this. I've got to do that. It's not like that at all.
No.
You go there, they're very welcoming and everything like that. You sit down in a circle, the same as you say, you pass the ball around. You don't have to talk. If you don't want to talk, you don't have to. These guys that go and they just sit there for a few weeks and they're just trying to soak it in. But then these guys that they're going there all the time, they're not facilitators and all this kind of stuff. And it becomes like a community. You make friends there and whatnot. And like you say, I'd go there thinking, oh God, my life's over. I'm going to lose this, lose that. And yet I'd be sat next to some guy that's got a brain tumour.
That's what I mean.
You know, and then I sit and I think, how could I be so selfish or so, I don't know, stupid when I've got this guy sat beside of me? And then I might have a guy, across road from me who is just lonely. He's just on his own. He got no friends because of one thing or another. And, these kind of people I look at them in awe. I mean, honest to God, I used to go there and I used to love it. I mean, it did. Some of the people there were some of the strongest, some of the, was the smartest, the kindest kind of people I've met in a long, long, long time.
And I think to even step into that room is one of the hardest things. I sat in the car outside for about 15 minutes before I went in. Yeah. And I remember getting out of the car, and there were a guy, and he must have noticed that I'd been sat in the car, and he came over to me, and he like said, "Your first time," and he was like, "Don't worry about it. Yeah. This is how it works. Yeah, I'll get you in. Yeah. I've got perfect group. I'll put you in my group." And instantly, I just felt like, "Oh yeah, I know."
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. So you got, if we have a recce of the car park and all that kind of stuff, if you go over and somebody might approach you like they've done with you, and if at the end of it, they do, like you say, they do. They look out for people new and old and all that kind of stuff, being there mid through it and towards the end of it and one thing and another. It's a great community.
It's a fantastic group, honestly. I support it 100%. 100%.
I've not been, I must admit, I haven't been now for probably, I'm going to say 8 months, maybe a little bit longer. For me, it kind of got to the point where I just couldn't sit there anymore. Things were going off outside of it and everything like that. And I haven't been, and it's not that, I wouldn't say that I'd never go back. It's just now for me, I'm at a point where I'm just not going at the minute. Yeah. But if I ever needed to go, I would be there straight away.
And I think the most powerful thing about communities and groups like that is just knowing that they exist.
Oh yeah.
It's there when you need it.
I never knew. Yeah. I hated it. I tell you, I was going through a real bad time, weeks and weeks, and I'm not kidding. I mean, I did videos and all sorts of it because I thought, I'm going to video this because I was going fucking cuckoo. I mean, I literally was. I was going cuckoo.
More cuckoo than you actually are.
I don't know, what I mean? But, I was going fucking cuckoo. And it was just on the off chance I thought I'm going to go to this. And it literally, I'm not going to say it saved my life, but, there's a good chance it did because it was
100%. It's made a difference, hasn't it? I 100% agree with that.
So now, like you say, a few years have passed and all this, and so I got back into property, and I must admit, how I did it before was I did it all on my own. Kept it in my own lane. I wasn't bothered about property people and all this kind of stuff. Just weren't bothered. So I kept it all, and everything was good then. Thought it was good then. Whereas now, it is so hard. I mean, it is really hard. I mean, because I'm kind of post bloody bankruptcy, So there's no finances. I couldn't get a mortgage. I've had to rent and all this. I've had to start the businesses up again and all that. But the workload that we've got, the amount of people that I've met along the way, and the kind of friendships that have been made and the clients that I've met and all this kind of stuff makes me kind of flip between the two. What would I rather be? Would I have rather been where I was, or am I happier now? You know, and I must admit, it's very difficult. As hard as it is now with the workload and the stress and all that kind of stuff, I enjoy what this is more so to what it was then.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm exactly the same, and I say it all the time, like partnerships and communities and groups and people. That's what makes it as well, isn't it?
Yeah. It's, you know, getting to like, you know, you meet like-minded people and all that kind of stuff. Whereas, as I say before, I was very much in my own lane. I thought, you know, wrongly. I thought, you know, I don't know. I thought,
do it all myself.
do it all myself.
Risk on myself.
Yeah.
Whereas that's one of the things as to why, like, me and Luke got together and why we JV with other people. Yeah. Like, we're spreading risk as well, and it takes the weight off your shoulders.
Yeah.
Just that little bit, it is a stressful thing to do. Investing in property is not as easy as what they say. You see all these people trying to push these courses on people, and it's not as easy as what people say. So to have partners and have JVs with people that have got that more experience, or they might bring something else to the table, just to spread that little bit of risk around. It just makes life that little bit easier, and I think you can grow quicker.
I mean, the look of it is now, we've, you know, we're at a point that we're able to get lending again. You know, I'm able to get business loans. I'm able to get a credit card, and I'm able now on a, you know, kind of personal level, we're able to get private lending, like JVs. You know, people now want to like lend to us in order to do what we're doing. It's a great feeling. I love it, but I haven't took it up. I haven't took no business loans out. I haven't taken no JVs. I haven't taken no private funds or anything like that, because at the moment I still just don't feel ready. But the benefits of it, like you say, massive. I mean, absolutely massive. I mean, hopefully, maybe next year things will be in a better position for the businesses and everything like that, and we can go forward. And I would love to do that. I've done it over the last few months with a good friend of mine. We JV'd on a couple of properties, and they went really, really well. So I would definitely do it again, say next year, but it definitely helps. I think doing a JV is great. You know, somebody lends you the money and get on with it. That's one way of doing it. But I think if you can bring things together, you know, if you can work together, like, you know, your business, my business, you do, I've mentioned this before, what you do with social media, I think it's absolutely amazing. Yeah, man. That just reminds me.
Here we go.
I've got a book out.
He's just plugging his new book.
Well, you know, just plugging that new book.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't put my face on that.
Well, I tried, but AI, you know how great I am at AI. I was making a coffee and I chucked it in AI, and it was arguing with me, basically. So it got to the point where I wanted to pick my laptop up and just throw it. But anyway, I've lost my train of thought now. But
no, but I get what you mean. It's all about you've all got these different skills, and you can put all them skills into one. I mean, we've spoke about this before about we can be relationship managers, bringing investors in, doing all the background. What to you feels anxious and crappy, we can do all that, and then we're no good at bringing build teams and strategy, and
neither am I.
Well, that's a great plug for future business. No, but you put yourself down. You really do.
In the space of say 12 months, we have done we've done at least 15 full refurbs.
That's what I mean.
We've done so many semi-refurbs. We've done countless maintenance projects, from anything from a leaky tap to a full redecoration. I mean, the turnover has been immense. So what I have there, I know I've got a good team. I know I've got a good, decent business, and I know what we do. But I also know where I struggle. So like social media kind of stuff, the back office kind of things, implementing, new strategies and all this kind of stuff. I can't do it. I haven't got the time for it. I ain't got the patience for it. And to be quite frank, I couldn't be asked for it anymore, because I like just to be working on the projects. That is what I like to be on. So like for you to come in and do what you do, I know he took care of. He's same again with another JV partner. I know that he can sort out any kind of, he'll sort out stuff with solicitors and all this kind of stuff. He can sort funding. He's got a good network on his part. So people can bring in different things.
Exactly.
And it's not all about the money. I mean, it's not, it really isn't. I mean, I could bring in the build teams, but I have no money. Or I might have all...
So you're not bothered about getting paid for this podcast then?
Well, Johnny, we'll talk about that in a bit, mate. You know what I mean? Why? Am I not getting paid?
No, you're not getting paid now.
Shit.
What do you mean? Where are you going?
Yeah.
You should have walked out.
But it's like doing these podcasts. It's like doing these. I mean, I never did these the first time around, but whereas now, because I've got a story, and I'm not playing on it, but the thing is...
No, but it's good to talk about things. Like when things have gone wrong for me, exactly. I talk about it and I put it out there and it's relatable. It's 100% real. It's 100% relatable. We're not doing a fake it till you make it bullshit, what everybody else is doing. We're not trying to sell any courses. We want partners, we want people to come on board with us, and we run a strict no dickheads policy. 100%.
I don't know how I've got through the door.
So go on. Show us your other book. What's your other book?
Oh, so my other book, yeah. The other book, this again, world's bestseller. It's out on Amazon. I hope you don't use hope. I mean, it's not. I'm not getting at any.
That's genuinely you when you had hair, isn't it?
That is genuinely.
Well, you had
that is genuinely me when I was 20 stone heavy.
What were the name of your boy band?
I don't know. I really don't know. I can't think of one at the top of it in a minute.
Brick Zone.
Yeah.
So we talked about everything. I think one of the big things as well. I did want to ask you the lender. Where did you actually? Where did the lender come from originally? Like where did you hear about
the lender through? It was through the. It will have been through the broker.
Right, okay, and it was no fault of the brokers, were it?
Oh God, no.
Because
no.
one of the things
they said on the paperwork, they sent me paperwork where it said about the extension. They signed it. They ticked it just because we did a video, and they was telling me everything that was part of the deal. And on there, they go through it, they tick it, and they signed it. When all this shit was happening. And the solicitors, because I got solicitors in, and when the solicitors said, right, we need all the video footage and all this kind of stuff, and we sent for it off of said company, they'd lost it. They'd lost all the videos, they'd lost the paperwork, they'd lost it.
Of course they had.
No, I'm not being funny. And this was the best bit, like I said to the solicitor, all right, do a no win, no fee. Go get him, cowboy. You've just freaking said you've got, the solicitor said, he says, out of all the years I've been doing this company has got, this is the worst practices I've ever seen. Oh, I'm thinking like, great. Oh man, you're going to screw them all over. No. Like, what do you mean no? He says, well, it's going to cost you 70 odd grand. Well, just do it on a no win, no fee. No, we can't. I thought, hold on. I've just told you I've lost everything.
They were that confident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was just a ball like.
Because I know what I really wanted to talk about as well is that I mean, you and me both good at property events, but one of the things that we've noticed massively, and we see behind the curtain. I know I see behind the curtain quite a lot.
I always peek behind curtains, mate. Hello.
But there's no due diligence done on these speakers. There's no due diligence done on these people who are pushing out sales to people, mentorship courses, mortgage lenders, bridging lenders. I mean, I went to an event recently, and the person who was speaking, the person next to me told me that they'd ripped them off, but they weren't allowed to sell. And I just think at these courses and these massive companies more due diligence should be done on the speakers?
I think so. Going through stuff now, people see what I do and all this kind of stuff, and they see we go through a hell of a lot of work, project after project after project. So on the Facebook, I mean, bearing in mind, I'm shite when it comes to social media. I'm absolutely crap. All I do is just chuck it on Facebook.
You put yourself down, mate, but honestly, you
I don't put myself down at all. I tell you how it is. I get to a Friday and I get my beers out and I sing from my phone and I think, right, I need to update my Facebook like I need to update my chuffing shopping list, whatever it is. I just have to chuck it on there. So I chuck everything on Facebook, and that's how I do it. I mean,
but it works.
I've got a new book coming out for that. But so that's all I do. But the problem is, people then look at this, and when I say people, I mean general public. Okay, so general public look at it and they think. Because I've had it, people say, fucking hell, you must be doing this, you must be doing that, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, I'm fucking not, mate, honest to God. So I have to tell them the story, I have to go into along of what happened, and just say, look, it's all investor funded. It's none of my money, I mean, it's investor funded. So straight away, then I say to them, tell them, look, and I say to them, look, if you want to get in property, look, it's really kind of easy in a way. You don't need, I had somebody saying to me, this was only 2 or 3 days ago. God, yeah, I've got to sell me out. I've got to, I want to pull some money out, but you need loads of money, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, not really. Now, I haven't got I don't know fully how it all works. I mean, even now, I really don't. But the basics is you don't need a lot of money. You don't even need any money. I didn't have any money when I started. I mean, literally, I did this, what they call no money down. I did no money down before I even heard about Kevin McDonald. I mean, it was just the fact that I was doing what I was doing. People seen 1 or 2 of the projects that I'd done, and the investors were reaching out to me, wanting to give me their money. So all I did was I offered my services as a project manager or a developer, whatever, and I structured it so the investor was funding the purchase and the renovation costs. We go in, do all the work, we split it 50-50. That's kind of how I was doing it. Then some of the investors were just giving me a lump sum and I was paying them a certain amount interest for it. So I was saying to this guy, it's really quite simple to get into, blah, 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 this and that. But I say to him, I says, let me tell you something, don't fucking believe what you see or read or hear or whatever. I says, just because you've seen this, I says, it's all investor funding. I says, do get some education. I says, if you want to really get into this, spend your money on a bit of education, learn it, see it for what it is. Because a lot of fucking people, I says, like probably me included, but I don't mean to. I mean, I came here dressed like a funeral because I was taking the piss. But a lot of people...
Like if you're like Scarface.
Well, you know what I mean.
Tony Soprano.
You know what I mean? So a lot of people put a fucking thing on it, and then people, unfortunately, on the outside look at it and think, oh, this cunt must be doing all right. He must know what he's on about, and that's how they get dragged in. Personally, it pisses me off. Honest to God, it pisses me off. I've never, ever been one for dressing up as it is anyway, unless it's, say, Halloween or Christmas or something like that. Then I'll put a mask on or whatever. But I think, like when you go to these property events and all this kind of bollocks, anybody that's given a platform to speak about what they've achieved, what they're doing, that they this and that, they should be vetted.
100%.
They should be vetted. They should have the bank accounts kind of checked, their history, HMRC and all this kind of bollocks. They should have it because Tom bloody, Susan and Martin, all that bollocks, sat there listening in, will probably lend their money to this guy, and this guy or woman is probably in deep financial shit, or they ain't got a clue what they're on about. They've just fluffed it. 100%. And there they are on a fucking stage giving it all this fucking bollocks. And it's the same with the lenders. These chuffing lenders, bridge companies, again, they give it all. This is exactly what they did with me. They make it all out to be this and that on the paperwork, the videos and this and that. But on the contract, that's where I failed. I didn't. So the contract, I believed everything they said that was going to be offered to me. Everything they said, they signed on the paperwork, they did on the videos, everything. They sent me the contract. You know where you get a contract where the writing's that fucking small and everything like that? Well, I thought, well, it's all on video and everything like that. No, they didn't put it in the contract. It wasn't in the contract. The biggest mistake I made was not... What I should have done was paid an extra £1,000 or 1,500 quid or whatever and gave the full contract to a solicitor 100%, and everything and let them read it through and tell me what I'm getting.
I was just going to say that. Doing your ILA, and getting it
having it a proper, a proper read. And I think exactly. So if these bridge companies can get away with it, your average Joe wannabe freaking suited and booted, fucking telling everybody what they should be doing with the money, how to invest and all this kind of bollocks, they should be vetted.
100%.
Exactly the same.
100%.
I don't care. I really, God to damn, do not care. I mean, I walk around, I'm always in my work gear. I keep myself to myself. I have a good network now of individuals and one thing or another. And do you know what? If I sniff out your bullshitting, if I sniff out the fakery and all that kind of bollocks, I just try and fucking keep away. I mean, I've had people like clients and one thing or another, they get into it and they love it and everything like that. But then they realise just fucking how hard work it is. And a lot of people, I think what they do is they get into property in one way. They try and, they get to whatever it is, I don't know, they become a sourcer or they become, they'll buy a few properties or whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like weird. It's really weird because the next day all the wardrobes changed and the cars changed and the social media's changed. And it's like you've been at it fucking 2 minutes and already it's like everything's on there about you fucking mega in property and whatever. And then a few years down the line, they're fucking up. Because they're coming out of work, they're leaving the jobs and everything because they think they're financially stable. They think they're earning billions of pounds and they can, fund it. Property is so expensive. I mean, anybody speaks to me, I always tell him, I don't know about other strategies. Get into whatever you want. You're into service accommodation, other people's in HMO. People talk to me about flipping. Well, I always say to them, on an average, you need to be at least doing 3 to 4 properties, if not more, per year, every year. Because you need to be buying one, looking for one. One's in conveyancing, one's completing. You're working on one. You need that content. And when you're averaging out at, say, 30, 40 grand, on a flip, you've got everything else to take off of that. You've got your fees, soliciting fees, selling fees and all that. Then you've got your tax and everything towards, and it all whittles down. So that looks 30, 40. It's about 20 grand.
Yeah.
Well, you do 2 in a year, 20 grand, 40. Okay, you make 40 grand. I'm not being funny. That's shit. Because the amount of work that goes into it is... And people
and risk. And risk.
Yeah.
Like margins, if your margins are going off that initially... And
I looked at a property the other day. Again, I wanted to put an offer in for myself. I spoke to a few investors and everything like that. On the thing of it, to look at it, they normally go for about 230, 220, 230, something like that. So anyway, it was direct to vendor. Went and had a look at it, and we had a look round. It was a big shit. It was such a state. It had been left for many years, but they were growing weed in it and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, they wanted rid. So the average price on that street is about 220, something like that. And I went in and basically, I said, look, this is my offer. Because he said, where would you be at it? I said, well, I'm about 120. On his face dropped. He didn't like it. And I get it. I said, well, where are you at with it? He was like, well, I'm like 200. I'm like, dude, you ain't getting that. I said, you ain't getting that off me, and you're not going to get that at the market. I was being polite. So I said, look, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I do for everybody. I'm going to show you all my workings out and everything like that. I'll be fully transparent because I don't want you to think I'm taking the piss. So I went home, did my calculations, put on my fees and everything like that and whittled it down. And even I was surprised because the top end offer really that I could have been offering there and then, say for a straight sale, worked out at about 135. And even then I still felt ashamed to offer that. But that is where it was at. They were my margins and my fees and all that kind of stuff. I could have structured it other ways, and I did put other ways to structure it, like a JV kind of thing or an assisted sale and all that kind of stuff to help give me a little bit more. But even so, it's like, well, there's others that sold there for like X amount, 290, but they're not the same. I know this street, I know this area very, very well. They are not the same.
Yeah. Comparables are important, and it's also important to. I say this all the time to people, like location, but it's knowing your area. So when investing in areas that you're aware of, you can't buy that. The knowledge that you've already got from the area, I think is very important. And I think that's why a lot of people, I think up north especially, we attract a lot of southern investors because we know the areas. We know the area. I've had investors come to me and offered it, saying I've got this deal, but it just they don't know the area. It's like Fir Vale. or they just, to them, they're like, oh, this property's 70 grand. Like, if I chuck this at it, but they don't know area.
I only look within, say, a few mile radius of, say, where I'm at.
Yeah. And where are you?
I don't want to say, because
where are
like, you know, it's like the gold mine area, Johnny. You know what I mean? You know, the gold mine area and all that crap. My power team, the power team from there. I'm based in Worksop. That's where I'm based. And
don't worry, I'll bleep that out.
Forever in a day, Worksop has been amazing. And I don't just mean that area within a 5 mile radius. They're old pit villages. I'm from all of that area. I know that area. I know the growth that's been there. My granddad was on the council there, so I get to hear a lot of stuff as regards, the regeneration and all this kind of stuff. But I've seen it grow and grow and grow. So when you get people wanting to invest, like you say, in other areas and whatnot, it's like me coming to you, I'd never invest in Sheffield because I just don't know the area. I mean, I just wouldn't. Even if I was to speak to you or anybody else, I'd find it very difficult for me to invest because I'd have to be within that area for many years. Yeah. But doing what I do, I work all over. And I think the good thing now is, we've recently just done a property and it was fantastic. We bought it, we 82 grand we gave for it. We spent about 40 grand renovating it. Went on the market for 200 grand. Now, the comparable over the road was 160. I think it sold for about 156 or 160 something. So we got 200. And it went on the market on Facebook, and within 30 minutes, we'd got offers within 30 minutes of Facebook. Now, the thing is, if you was to have a look at that particular house, people will say, it'll never be 200 grand. But there was nothing else like it for the size of the house, for the quality of work that we did, and supply and demand. So, yeah, I look on the street, and if I think there's something special about that property, if I can't find it on that street that I think we've got, I'll look further afield. Because like that one, that was a 4-bed, but it was a massive 4-bed. Well, there was nothing on that street for it. There was nothing for like a mile or so. And so if you opened up your parameters a little bit, you will see that there was nothing of that size and quality for any less than 200 grand.
Yeah.
So we knew we was onto something.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it, but we knew it was onto something. And so...
And you are known as the ceiling smasher anyway, aren't you?
Well, I try, you know what I mean? I try. And all right. So I do say this a lot, but it is true. Every time we've done a project that is either for his own or for an investor, the ceiling price, whenever they come to value it, whenever they put it on the market, yes, it goes over the ceiling price.
Yeah, man, that's epic.
I'm not saying it always fetches that. We've just had... So we've had it where it's gone over, and I've had full asking price and all that, and then the actual mortgage value comes out. Yeah.
And they're downvaluing a lot lately, though.
They downvalued it by about £1 million. Yeah, it's just because they just enjoy ruining people. But that does happen, and you have to try and get over it. But yeah, we do. I must admit, I am really pleased and proud of what it is we've done. And it ain't me.
Man, you've smashed it.
We run it. I mean, I look after it, but it's the team.
Yeah.
A massive team we've got. We have guys that are there every day. We have contractors. There must be 20 of us, if not more.
Brilliant. Right, well, we've got to get a wrap because I know you can talk forever. And this has got to be...
This is part one.
This has got to be our longest podcast that we've ever done.
Johnny, I'm telling you now, mate. I hope it... As I say, ceiling smash it. What can I say?
Right, well, thank you for coming on, Danny. If anybody wants to get in touch with you, though, where's best to get in touch?
Well, seeing as I'm now a social media guru, you can find me on Facebook. That's it.
Awesome. Right, well, thank you for listening, everybody, and thank you, Danny.
Spot on, Danny. Right. Thank you very much. Ciao.
You've been listening to the Proper Property Podcast in association with Olive Venture Properties. Make sure you like and subscribe, and see you next week for another episode.